Hello, and welcome to Tech Clarified, where we talk all things technology. If you are here for the very first time, my name is Theo, and I'm glad to have you on my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the prerequisites for enabling virtualization on a Windows 10 computer. If you haven't already watched my first video in which I covered the basics of virtualization, please make sure to go check it out at the link above. So, without wasting too much time, let's dive right in. Let's take a look at the minimum hardware and software requirements in order to proceed on Windows 10. We need to be running the 64-bit version of Windows 10 on our computer. It has to be either the Professional or Enterprise Edition. In order to be running Windows 10 64-bit, you naturally need a 64-bit processor. It must support what is known as Second Level Address Translation or SLAT. If your computer is less than 5 years old and has an AMD or Intel processor, then you are most likely fine. Hardware virtualization also needs to be supported and enabled in BIOS. In my next video, I'll be showing you how to check that this is already enabled, and if not, how to enable it. Microsoft stipulates a minimum of 4 GB of random access memory, but I would recommend at least double that. If you try to run your host machine and more than one VM on 4 GB of RAM, you are definitely going to struggle with performance. The amount of memory you will need will ultimately depend on how many virtual machines you intend to run concurrently and the type of applications you will install. Those are the bare minimum requirements, but there are other considerations. You definitely need to make sure you have sufficient free hard disk space for your intended virtual machines. Each of your guest machines will need to meet the minimum hardware specifications corresponding to the operating system and applications you will install on it. Your physical machine will obviously have other resources like a network card, a graphics adapter, and a keyboard and mouse and so on. You just have to remember that you are sharing a set of finite resources between your host and guest machines. The virtualization software makes sure that there's no fighting for those resources on the host machine. Let's jump onto my computer and I'll show you what I'm talking about in terms of resources. I'll right-click on my taskbar and select Task Manager. Once it opens up, I select the Performance tab, and from there I can see my machine processor information. In this case, I have all of 12 logical processors and they're barely working at all, so I have plenty for my guest machines. I can also see that I have 16 GB of RAM, along with a view of how much of it is in use and what is available to allocate to virtual machines. Remember, we can't use all the free memory since the host machine might need some more at a later stage. From a storage point of view, I have 2 physical drives with 2 partitions each. They are both SSDs, so that goes a long way in speeding up things. I just have to find out which of the partitions has the most free space. And lastly, I have these other resources like an Ethernet adapter and a graphics processing unit. If I want, I can also click on Resource Monitor down here to get a slightly different view of the resource information. I can now close everything as we are finished. That was a very short description of the prerequisites for enabling virtualization on Windows 10. So as you can see, it's not very difficult at all. Now, I look forward to you joining me on the next video in which we actually get our hands dirty and we configure virtualization using a Microsoft product, Hyper-V, on Windows 10. I look forward to seeing you then. And I do hope that you've learned something new today. If you have, why don't you go on ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and click the like button. While you're at it, share this video with your friends. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.